Yes, so thank you. Good morning. I'd like to call the February.
Meeting.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. I'd like to call the February 25th,
Music hold,
2025 business meeting of the Arapahoe County Board of Commissioners to order. In attendance today are County Attorney Ron Carl and Cooney Saraceno, Administrator to the Board in the Clerk and Recorder's Office. Also joining us to facilitate remote public participation is Michelle Halstead, Director of the Commissioner's Office. That was her. Mr. Saraceno, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Fields.
Present.
Commissioner Warren Gully. Here. Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Campbell.
Present.
And Commissioner Summey.
Here. Thank you very much. Commissioner Baker, would you be so kind to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand if you're able and join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
Yes, there's a request to add an item to the consent agenda as item 6J. And what it is there's already on your consent agenda an item 6D, which is a equitable sharing agreement and certification report. That would enable the Sheriff's Office to receive forfeiture funds. The DA's office has let our finance department know that the DA also needs a similar agreement signed for the DA's office in order for the DA's office to receive forfeiture funds. And so that's what we'd like to add as consent agenda item 6J is a similar equitable sharing agreement and certification report for the DA's office. And it's my understanding these are agreements we've signed in previous years.
Thank you very much, Attorney Carl. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as, what's the word? Corrected. Thank you. As modified, that's the word. Thank you all.
So moved.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been moved by Commissioner Baker and seconded by Commissioner Warren Gully to approve the agenda as modified. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is our public comment period. You're invited to speak to the commissioners about any topic that is not on the agenda. If you'd like to speak on a topic that is included on this agenda, we ask that you please wait until that item is called until you speak. For those who are online who'd like to get in the queue to speak, please press *3 at this time. Each person has 1 3-minute time period for comments, which will begin after you state your name and address for the record, if you feel comfortable. While the board doesn't respond to individual comments during this section of our agenda, please note we do listen to these concerns and take note of the issues for resolution and follow up as appropriate. Given the number of individuals in attendance, both in person and on the line, as well as, okay, so we're going to have our 1 to 3 minute period. I'm sorry. So, and with that, we have a comment. Candace Rutledge, would you please come to the microphone?
Hello, my name is Candace Rutledge and I'm from Littleton, Colorado, and I have seen things from the street level while looking up when it comes to dealing with the systems that are in place. And I wanted to speak about that a little bit. I have been to I know it's a federal agency, to the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and talked to an individual there. I told him, you're not very visible to places like shelters or to severe weather network or things like that, and even like food banks. I only heard about it this winter when I had spent all of last winter on the street or in my car, depending on what time frame I was dealing with things. This winter, I've gone to the Secretary of State after I was referred there, and I wanted to do my business registration on paper because I have a problem where anytime I'm in a system, I get spooks that come after me and kind of bother me or, talk about what I'm trying to do when it involves the government, so it's kind of wild. I've had a lot happen. I've had a car crashed by people on purpose and didn't know that prior to that. I was told that that would happen until it did happen. After the police were gone, after I reported it, There was sketchy activity after that. There's just all kinds of stuff I've been through that I don't really appreciate. And then when I try to go to the cops to talk to them about some of the things that are happening, I feel like I don't get taken seriously. And recently, I know it is the Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and I know that knowing that might sensitize me to thinking that something might be human trafficking, but I feel like I saw something that felt kind of creepy. And even when I checked my bias and said, hey, am I just thinking that? Because, I went to go to Littleton PD and talked to them about it, and I felt like I was a mixture of shamed for trying to report. I also felt like people weren't taking me seriously, and they didn't see that it was enough of an incident that my report, which I didn't do very often, was good enough to go check the camera footage that I already asked the hotel manager to provide to them. Finally, after being in and out of there, and we wasted more time than it would take to go there and check it, from me hassling them, they finally went to go check it, and they said everything's fine, but I don't know if they actually saw this incident, because I wasn't there to oversee what they were seeing. I just told them an indication of what time frame my presence in the lobby looked like, and then, so there's a lot going on, and I don't know, I'm not sure how to deal with it. I've had all kinds of weird things happen when it comes to dealing with police that I don't appreciate, and I grew up in the DARE program, and I have an innate trust for the cops, so it really frustrates me a lot to see that.
We're so sorry, Ms. Rutledge, and thank you very much for your comment. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment at this point? Michelle, is there anybody online or on the phone?
There's no one in the queue at this time.
Thank you. So thank you very, very much again, Ms. Rutledge, for your comments. You do know that staff has heard your concerns in the room. We have heard your concerns, and we do take note of the issues for resolution and follow up as appropriate. Again, we encourage everyone to email us at commissioners@arapahoegov.com if we were not able to hear your comments today. So today, we have a proclamation establishing March 2025 as National Social Work Month. Is there a motion to approve this proclamation?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Baker.
I move to approve the resolution about the proclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion was made by Commissioner Baker and seconded by Commissioner Warren Gully to approve the proclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the proclamation is adopted. I'd like to ask Commissioner Warren Gully, our liaison to the Human Services Department, to read this proclamation.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. A proclamation establishing March 2025 as Social Work Month. Whereas the social work profession has been dedicated to improving human well-being and enhancing the basic needs of all people for decades, especially the most vulnerable among us. And whereas social workers have always been present in times of crisis, helping people overcome life-changing circumstances, empowering people to live to their fullest potential. And whereas social workers serve critical roles in our healthcare, educational, and government systems, often serving as first responders to those in crisis. And whereas it is important to recognize how social workers help empower individuals, families, communities, and our society to heal from crisis and overcome hurdles that prevent them from achieving better well-being. And whereas social workers within the Arapahoe County Human Services Department strive to achieve safety, permanency, and well-being for children, at-risk adults, and their families, social workers collaborate to build strong communities by promoting self-sufficiency and stability. And whereas the impact of their work is evident across the county as they responded to 27,621 abuse and neglect calls in 2024. They received 13,919 child protection referrals and 3,431 adult protection referrals. They ensured that 89.6% of children involved with child protective services remained safely at home. facilitated 55 adoptions, 13 RGAP cases, referred 1,275 children at risk, adults, and their families for prevention services, provided Thanksgiving meals to 2,225 people, and holiday gifts to more than 850 individuals. And whereas social workers positively touch the lives of Arapahoe County residents on a daily basis, serving the most vulnerable within our community with the very highest level of professionalism and compassion. Now, therefore, in recognition of the numerous contributions made by social workers within the county, the Arapahoe County Board of Commissioners proclaims the month of March 2025 as National Social Work Month and calls upon all residents to celebrate these professions on March 19th, 2025, in appreciation of their commitment and service.
Thank you, Commissioner Warren Gully. Now I'd like to invite Nikki Watson, our CAPS Administrator in Human Services, to the podium to say a few words and accept this proclamation.
Good morning. My name is Nikki Watson, and I'm the Client Services Administrator with Child and Adult Protection Services. Thanks for the honor of being able to speak today. Our division employs over 300 social workers. We appreciate that you are recognizing one of the most important professions through this proclamation. Child and Adult Protection Services staff are called upon to serve and protect our most vulnerable and at-risk populations from abuse and neglect and exploitation. They often make numerous personal sacrifices to ensure the safety, permanency, and well-being of our community. Many of those we serve are living in poverty and barely able to make ends meet. They are isolated from their community, struggling with substance use, domestic violence, mental health, social capital, and violence in their neighborhoods and schools. Often they are exposed to complex and years of multi-generational trauma and have experienced repeated involvement and intervention from the child and adult protection system. Our staff are first responders. They make crucial decisions in order to mitigate safety concerns and at times even save the life of a child or an at-risk adult. These decisions can be gut-wrenching, and they forever change the trajectory for children and at-risk adults and their families. This work is incredibly difficult and leaves an indelible mark on the hearts and souls of our staff. The role of a social worker includes partnering and collaborating with our community to break down barriers, to provide education and resources, to empower our clients to overcome their challenges so they can live to their fullest potential. Our role with families is to be an advocate, to be a voice, to engage and connect, to help coach, guide, and strengthen their ability to protect and care for their children or their at-risk loved one. As social workers, we have a strong desire to help others. We are passionate about the work, and we will go to great lengths to ensure children and at-risk adults are safe and their needs are met. It is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that we take the time to recognize and appreciate this work. I am honored to work with an incredible group of professionals who are brave, resilient, and dedicated to this work each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. At this time, are there commissioner comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Baker.
Thank you, and I'm really happy we're able to do this proclamation. I have a connection to social work, as many of you know. I just want to use this advocacy time for the audience that might be out there listening to us, the audience of millions possibly listening in to us, is that there is a need for foster parents. There is a vital need. We need people to step up. And if you can open your heart and your home to a child in need for a temporary basis, you need to let our Human Services Department know about that. If you're looking to adopt a child and want to bring that joy into your home, that's something else that I would encourage you to reach out to Human Services. If you're a volunteer that would like to help, maybe going to a hospital at the Neo Care Center and holding a baby so that they can bond with a human, that is something that is vitally needed as well. I want to shout out to Dr. Cog for their work with the AAA, the Area Agency on Aging, which funds a lot of our senior services. And secondly, I want to tell the Human Services staff that we need you, and you need to take care of yourself. Secondary trauma is real. It's something that you may not know that you're experiencing that, but we do provide help to our caseworkers. Also, just reach out, get whatever help that you possibly can, and we'll help you with that. That's my comments. Thank you this morning.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Baker. Anybody else? Commissioner Fields?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning. I just want to take this opportunity to just say thank you for the work that you do as a social worker, because not everyone comes into this world on easy street.
There we go.
Oh, thank you. That was on.
I did too.
And what I mean by that is that I see social workers as those people who intervene in times of crisis. Because sometimes people get stuck in the complexity of what's going on in their life and they can't see a path forward. But social workers are there to provide access to information, to resources, to help people navigate through these troubling times that they may experience. I heard the presenter talk about it's very complicated work. But to do complicated work, first of all, you have to have a passion for it. And what I know about the folks that do the work, and I've had a chance to visit the organization, is that people really care. And you can't help people be unstuck if you don't care. So I want to thank you for caring enough to help people get unstuck during these troubling times and to addressing all of the support that's needed to advocate for them. Many of these people that come to you don't know how to advocate for themselves. I believe that every child needs to have a champion, and I believe that champion should be a teacher. And I believe that any family or adult person that's dealing with issues, they need to have a champion in the services that we provide in Arapahoe County Human Services. So I just want to say thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your diligence and your tenacity to help people get unstuck. I really do appreciate all the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Warren Gully?
I don't have very much more to add to that other than I agree completely with my colleagues up here. When you look at the numbers here of 27,621 urgent calls that come into our call center every year, it reminds me that this is a place, this is a place where people call when there's nowhere else to turn. You know, you're a teacher, you're a physician, you are a grandma, you're a community member, and you see something. You don't know what to do, you don't know where to call, and you all are where that lands. And many times those don't have any other need than this family just needs support, whether that's food assistance or a little help somewhere, and you connect them to that, and that's so important. But to the 300 social workers and all of the people that back them up every single day, that's a lot of people that work behind the scenes and support the social workers in Arapahoe County. We say thank you for your commitment, thank you for your compassion, and I agree with Commissioner Baker. Please, please make sure that you're taking care of yourselves.
Thank you, Commissioner Campbell.
Not to be flip, but ditto.
Is there a ditto twice squared. And that was it. That was it. That was enough. There was a period. That was enough. So I do want to echo everything that everyone said. And thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you for caring. Thank you. Thank you. And we're happy to celebrate this proclamation today, to observe this proclamation. And with that, we're going to take a couple of minutes and take a picture in the back. So join us at the back. It's not me. What? Listen. Oh, my goodness. Well, we have 10 items on our consent agenda today. Does any commissioner wish to remove an item? No? Well,
Madam Chair?
yes.
I move that we, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Before we approve the consent agenda, County Attorney Ron Carl has a disclosure to make.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My disclosure is with respect to consent agenda item 6F, which is signature authority for the chair to sign the 2025 Aid to Agency Safety Net Award with All Health Network. Pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute Section 24-18-109, a local government official who serves on the board of directors of a nonprofit entity shall publicly announce his or her relationship with the nonprofit entity before voting on a matter that provides an economic benefit to the nonprofit entity. So on behalf of Commissioner Warren Gully, I am disclosing that she serves on the board of directors of the nonprofit entity All Health Network.
Thank you very much. That's why Commissioner Warren Gully wanted to say something.
No, actually, no.
Now I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda with the additional information.
Second.
Thank you. It has been properly moved by Commissioner Warren Gully and seconded by Commissioner Campbell to approve the consent agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Great. We have 3 general business items before us today. The first item is adoption of a supplemental budget resolution for the 4th quarter of 2024. Our presenter, Leanna Quint, is Senior Budget Analyst with the Finance Department. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Okay. I'm like, I'm not sure, because, you know, we're so informal, you know. And the attorney of record is John Christopherson, Deputy County Attorney. Mr. Christopherson, could you please set the foundation?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Pursuant to state statute, once the county has adopted its annual budget, the board may transfer appropriate monies between funds or between spending agencies within a fund, or if unanticipated revenues are received, the board may elect a supplemental budget and appropriation only after notice of the transfer and/or supplemental appropriation has been published. The record should reflect that notice of the 38 supplemental appropriations to the 2024 and 2025 budgets was published in the February 20th, 2025 issues of the Inglewood Herald, Littleton Independent, and Centennial Citizen newspapers. Therefore, the board may consider these 38 supplemental appropriations to the 2024 and 2025 budgets.
Thank you very, very much. It's on you.
Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have for you, as Mr. Christopherson stated, 38 supplementals. 28 of them are for the 2024 budget, and 10 of them are for 2025. I will.
Can you move the microphone there?
Is that better? I'll highlight a few of those for you now. There's a request to transfer $2.2 million from the general fund to the self-insurance liability fund. This is to cover the incurred but not reported adjustment. A transfer from the Arapahoe County Recreation District Fund of $500,000 to the Open Space Sales Tax Fund. This is to cover the Rec District's portion of the Dove Valley Regional Park project. In the general fund, reduce the revenue by $2.5 million and the appropriation by $1.9 million to remove a duplicate ARPA transfer that was done at the first and third quarter budget review. There's also recognize and appropriate in the Road and Bridge Fund of $230,880 for the revenue that was received from Western Midstream for the Mitchell project. Recognize and appropriate $203,000 in the Public Health Fund. This is for revenue that has been received for the opioid settlement in 2024. Recognize $3.8 million in Open Space Sales Tax Fund for revenue received from various partner projects, such as the Dove Valley Regional Park project and Highline Canal projects. Appropriate $510,000 in the Homeland Security Fund to more accurately reflect the portion of the grant that was expended in 2024. Recognize and appropriate $206,575 in the Infrastructure Fund for revenue received from the Regional Transportation Improvement Fees and the Rural Transportation Impact Fees. Reduce the revenue in the Infrastructure Fund by $696,688, appropriation by $752,688 for projects that are closing or had amounts that were duplicated at a quarterly review. Moving on to the 2025 items. Appropriate $6.6 million in the general fund for one-time costs of the former ARPA projects following the reimbursement of the revenue loss funds at the third quarter review. Increase the FTE in the clerk and recorder's office by 2 and recognize $120,000 and appropriate $99,726 to be able to offer passport services at the Aurora branch. Increase the FTE by 1 for human resources in the general fund and recognize and appropriate $74,237. This is for a retirement plan assistant position. Recognize $456,452 and appropriate $519,807 and increase the headcount by 8 in the Social Services Fund for additional positions in the Community and Child Support Services Division. Recognize and appropriate $2,067,000 in the grant fund to account for the balance of the remaining ARPA funding for the Ridgeview Campus project and the prepaid item for ERA2. There was one item that was not discussed at the study session but has been included in the resolutions and was put in the publication for recognizing and appropriating $19,341 in the grant fund for the coroner's office for the CDPHE toxicology grant and the Coverdell grant. So overall, for 2024, there's an impact to revenue of $12.14 million and expenditures of $6.69 million. And for the 2025 total, $4.4 million in revenue and $12.2 million in expenditures, and a total increase of FTE of 11.75. With that, are there any questions on the items I discussed or any other ones that were in the resolutions?
Questions for staff at this time? Looks like there are no questions. Yeah, no questions. I will now open this item for public comment. So please press *3 to enter the queue if you're listening on the phone, or come to the podium if you're here in person. Provide your name, city, address if you're comfortable for the record. Is there anyone in the room to speak? Do we have anybody for public comment? Thank you very much, Mr. Saraceno. And Michelle, is there anyone online or on the phone?
It's Chris, and there's no one in the queue at this time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Henning. Now I'd like to ask if there's any commissioner discussion at this time, or if there is not, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Baker.
I move to adopt the supplemental appropriation resolution for 38 items as part of the 2024 and 2025 budgets that was presented to the board at the fourth quarter budget review study session on February 4th, 2025, and brought forward for today's public hearing for formal adoption.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Commissioner Baker and properly seconded by Commissioner Campbell to approve the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Yay! Thank you very, very much, Ms. Quint.
Thank you.
And thank you. Our next two items are a use by special review, case number USR 23-002, and final development plan, case number FDP 23-001, both for Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool. We will hear combined staff and applicant presentations on the two items. So combined staff and applicant presentations. We'll also vote, though, on each item separately. First, the use by special review, then the final development plan. After presentations have been heard, we will open it up for public comment on these items. Our presenter is Ernie Rose, Senior Planner with the Public Works and Development Department, and our attorney of record is Matt Hayter, Senior Assistant County Attorney. Mr. Hayter, please set the foundation, and welcome.
Thank you. With regard to the two cases for public hearing today, use by special review in case number 23-002 and the final development plan in case number FDP 23-001, the record contains evidence consistent with the requirements of Chapter 5, Section 2 of the Arapahoe County Land Development Code, indicating that notice was provided via signage, mailing, and publication. The board has jurisdiction to proceed with these public hearings today.
Thank you, Mr. Hayter. Mr. Rose, would you please provide your presentation?
Sure will. Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. I'm here to present the case, and as stated, or there will be only one presentation for both cases. So this is for the USR 23002, the Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool. The property is located just southwest of the intersection of Quincy and Copperleaf Boulevard. The address is 4401 South Copperleaf Boulevard. The applicant is proposing a 10,967 square foot single-story child care facility with two outdoor play areas that equal 6,550 square feet. It also includes associated parking, landscaping, and sidewalks. The area, this is part of the Copperleaf PD plan, and in the Copperleaf PD plan, the use or the area is M, which is where the proposal is. This PD plan and our code has different requirements. A daycare in This area has to go through a use by special review, which that's what we're here for today. The use by special review, in its simplest form, approves the land use. And then the site plan is reviewed by you and the Planning Commission. And the site plan is, or the final development plan is basically approving the final development plan. There are section 534 of the code provides 9 approval criteria for the application. And as stated in the staff report, we feel this project meets those criteria. As stated earlier, the USR and FDP are being combined in this case. The USR will be acted on before the FDP, approving the land use and then the site plan after that. The comprehensive plan conformance, the project does comply with that in terms of direct growth to the urban area, expand the county's existing economic base, encourage infill and development and redevelopment, and ensure the provisions of adequate public facilities and services. There is a slight variance to the code. The applicant, and through the planning manager, the applicant can request a 10% reduction in parking, which they have, and they're actually requesting down to about 5%. The project requires 44 spaces, and they're going to go for 42 spaces. Based on what they provided in their information and staff's opinion, staff supports this reduction in parking. The applicant has addressed all external comments for this case, and any unaddressed comments will be addressed during the building permit process. There was no public comment. In December of 2023, the applicant held a neighborhood outreach meeting, and there were no attendees at that meeting. In February this year, the applicant sent out information to the surrounding neighbors announcing this meeting, and it was announced or posted in the Centennial Citizen, Littleton Independent, and the Inglewood Herald. Based on these findings of facts, staff recommends approval of this case and with the following conditions of approval. Are there any questions for staff?
Yes, Commissioner Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. If I'm not mistaken, this, which went before the Planning Commission?
Just the site plan, the FDP.
FDP went before the, okay, so we're just talking about the USR now, or?
Well, it's combined both,
Okay.
but the USR is the land use, which allows the property, them to build a daycare facility.
And is this in the commercial development that Copperleaf is doing? It's a larger commercial area, is this?
I think it's across the, if we go back to the
site.
So is this,
okay?
That's the area, I think you may be talking about the
across the street,
across
yeah.
the street, yeah. So this is across from that area, yes.
Okay. And I don't know which one it would be for, but was any consideration given to any crossing, putting in any crossings across of Copperleaf Boulevard as a result of this?
There was never a discussion regarding that.
Thank you, everyone. That was great.
Yeah. And I apologize, but I do think that there may eventually be a need for a crosswalk, definitely just south of Quincy and maybe somewhere along Copperleaf at some point to be considered.
I'm Emily Gonzalez from Engineering Services as a review engineer. This overall Copperleaf traffic was kind of put together with the original PDP that had a traffic master plan. And so that's what the applicant went off of when they checked all of the access and planned where crossings were and everything like that. So there wasn't one considered right here, but there is a traffic signal at Quincy and Copperleaf that people can go up to and cross there.
Great, thank you. And then my only last question, was the FDP approved, or what was the vote of the Planning Commission?
7-0.
7-0 in favor?
Yes, in favor.
Great, thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank
So
you.
I'll bring up Brett from, or is there any more questions? Sorry.
Let's see. Any other commissioner questions? All right, thank you very much.
Hey, well, I'll bring up Brett from Little Sunshine's Playhouse.
Thank you, Ernie.
Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Brett Roball. I'm from Springfield, Missouri. We got Missourians up here, natives?
Well, family.
Family has a lake house in Stockton.
In Stockton Lake. That's about an hour from where I am, so we're very familiar with it. It's a great fishing country. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm the CEO of Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool. I've been in this position about 6 years, and we are a family-owned business, born and raised in Springfield, Missouri, and in the basement of the owner's house, and here we are 25 years later. Even though we were born and raised in Missouri, we have as many schools here in Colorado as we do anywhere else. And so we're very proud to be growing here in Colorado, state of Colorado, and specifically in Denver, Colorado Springs, and looking up in Fort Collins and some other communities. This community has been one that we've targeted for a long time that we would love to be part of. And it took a long time to get here to find an appropriate space for us, but we were lucky enough to find this, and very excited to work with the entire county staff to be here today. Just quickly, just a little bit about Little Sunshines. We have 38 schools across the country. We serve ages 6 weeks. In fact, I was holding little babies this morning in our Parker school before I got here, and to 6 years of age. So we don't do any before school, after school care. We don't do any busing. We stay in our lane. We are 6 weeks to 6 years, and that's it. Our hours are 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 evening. We have 10 classrooms, and about 100, once fully licensed, it's set up for 134 children. If I could figure out, let's see, okay, here we go. As shown a little bit earlier by Mr. Rose, this is our project site right next to the apartment complex. I think is complete or nearly complete at this time.
Yeah.
It's getting very close. So this was actually a remnant site that they had that they didn't need, and so we purchased it from this building, or from the apartment complex developer. This is our site plan. I don't have the availability to point, but we operate a little bit on we call it our red carpet service. It's a little bit of a kind of a drive-through concept in the mornings to allow us to get traffic in and out in a more efficient and safer way. So we man the front door in the mornings for drop-off for those parents who want to take advantage of it, and we'll take the kids out of the back seat and take them to their classrooms and their teachers, and just to kind of ease that transition for parents. We don't do that in the afternoons, just because afternoons is a little bit wider time frame. Our morning drop-off period ends at 10 o'clock. And then we have what we call the big kids playground there on the right, and the little kids playground there down to the south. We have shade structures, playground structures. You can see the trike path there if you want to go take a spin on it when it's fully developed. And all of that is fully encased by an opaque fence for privacy reasons. So this is this works for us really well in Colorado, and we've got teams all around us to provide support where we need support. So it really fits really well on this particular site. Oh, there we go. I was getting a little ahead of the presentation here, but this shows the stacking that's available. It really doesn't look like that in real life. I was just, like I said, our Parker location this morning, and there was probably 4 cars there when I was there at 8 o'clock this morning. But it has plenty of stacking, so we don't get backed up. We fully staffed. There's probably 25 to 30 staff there, for those 134 children, including our leadership staff, teaching staff, and chef. There you see a little bit of, there's the outline of our fence and an elevation of what our fence looks like. It's I can't remember if a full elevation of our school is in here, but we're a transitional type use. It doesn't really, it's commercial, but it really doesn't look like a commercial building. It looks more like a house. And so it's a good friend to, and a good neighbor to the housing development there in the rear. And that's why we also put the opaque fence up, so just to keep privacy for everybody involved. Oh, there's our elevation there. So we went through a redesign process a couple years ago, and we've rarely had any trouble with anybody having any problem with our building, because we take great care to use high-class, sustainable and low maintenance or zero maintenance materials, and friendly colors to basically any neighborhood that we're going in. So again, it's intended to, I don't have any pictures of the inside. I should have included some of those here, but it's intended to be a home. We have a big grand opening a couple weeks before we open every one of our schools, and so we'd love all of you to come and see us when we get there. So happy to answer any questions, but that's a little bit about who we are and what we're doing.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant at this time? Yes, Commissioner Warren Gully.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And it seems like such a great location for you all to be coming into with the apartments there, and then lots of housing, obviously. So are you able to access, is there a perimeter fence around the whole thing, or would people be able to access if they had children going here from the apartments or the neighborhood to walk?
There
You know
is
what I'm
not,
saying?
there is not a perimeter fence around the entirety of the lot. We have, so everything is secured. So there's locks on all of the gates, not able really to go, you're not able to get in from the gates. We have, we can't fully put locks on the inside of the gates to get out for fire code reasons.
Sure.
But we do have loud alarms and notification system for the entire school whenever that does open. That way everybody's fully aware if that gate opens. On the front, there's only one entrance to so there's entrances for each classroom to that secured playground, and in the front there's only one entrance, and what you see right here, which is it's mag locked, and then we also on the inside of our lobby also have secondary locks to the rear, so it's double secured entry.
Sounds like it's very secure. I guess my question was more directed, if I lived, for example, in these apartments, would I be able to walk my child to your center, or is there a barrier there?
No,
somehow?
You would be able to.
Okay.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question.
No, that was great to know about the security too. That's very important. So thank you for that. So I heard 30 staff members, 136 children.
Yes.
6 weeks to 6 months.
Yes.
Okay.
No, 6 weeks to 6 years.
6 years. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Do you all do just private pay, or do you work with like universal pre-K programs and our CCAP programs for folks that may not be able to pay out of pocket?
Yeah, the universal pre-K program here in Colorado has been great. It's fairly new.
Yes.
I think about 3 years old or so, 3 or 4 years. And so we work to open up as many spots as we can for universal pre-K. We typically, so yes, we definitely work with the state on all those programs.
And the younger kids that do the child care assistance program, that might be a little too in the weeds.
You're asking a question that's, I don't know. My background is not in operations, and so I apologize. I don't want to misstate. I don't 100% know the answer to that.
That's all right. That's all right, and I'm sure it's different for each location.
It is.
Okay,
That
great.
I can tell you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Oh, Commissioner Fields.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your presentation. When I look at the facility, the outline that you have there, it's like a place that I would want to take my kids to. Little Sunshine Playhouse. That's such an attractive title. I was wondering if you can speak a little bit more about the cost of tuition. What's the range based on the number of kids that you might have attending that school?
It depends on, first of all, Little Sunshine was named for the owner's daughter. She called her Little Sunshine. So it's just a little fun fact I like to repeat. So tuition is a range based on age of child. So infants and toddlers are generally one tuition, and then twos are another tuition, and then threes are four. So usually there's 3 buckets of range, 3 buckets of tuition range. As I said a little bit earlier, our pre-K rates are 3s and 4s. We work with the Universal Pre-K program to get those subsidized. Typically, I'm not. Let me back up. We have not set our rates here. However, I can tell you, based on similar schools that we have, this is. I'm not going to be shy. I mean, it's expensive. It's an interesting business. Like I said, I didn't come in this earlier, but it's a difficult business in the sense that it's expensive for parents. It's expensive for operators to operate on very razor-thin margins, and so your margin for error is very small, which is, frankly, I could have an all-day discussion about this and why you've heard the term childcare desert. This is why this is, because it's a labor-intensive business, and it's a facility-intensive business, and each of those are very expensive. So the range is, I don't know exactly. We won't set that until we get much closer to kicking off, but it'll probably in the range of $1,500 to $2,000 per month.
Okay, that's helpful to know. And how many classrooms would you have to support the 136 students?
10.
10?
Yes, 3 infant, 3 toddler, 2 twos, 1 3, and 1 4.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
I will now open public comment on the final development plan and the use by special review. So if you are on the phone, please press *3 to enter the queue if you're listening on the phone, or come to the podium if you're here in person. Please provide your name and city and address, or name and city or address if you're comfortable for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes for your comments. For those in the room, the lights will come on. They're going to count down right up there, and then I'll let folks know on the phone that there are 30 seconds left. So is there any public comment? Love it. Thank you very much. Michelle, is there anyone on the phone?
There's no one in the queue at this time.
Oh, see, look, I just intuited that it was going to be Michelle who said something. Yeah, and not Chris. So now, is there any commissioner discussion at this time? Well, with that, I will oh, nope, there is.
No.
Are you going to entertain? I will entertain the motion. Thank you, Commissioner Baker.
Thank you very much.
Oh, we have info. Do we have info? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
I didn't see you. I'm very sorry.
No, you're okay. Emily Gonzalez again. If your question was about people over from the east being able to get here pedestrian-wise, right across the street is going to be pretty much all commercial, and you can just barely see at the bottom of this map. There's that roundabout, and kind of on the southeast corner of the roundabout is where the residential starts, and so people would be able to cross. You can kind of see the crosswalks on that side. There are crosswalks on all of the 4 sides.
Okay, yeah, that was really either to the roundabout or up to Quincy.
Yeah, so that part between the roundabout and Quincy is mostly commercial.
But if it's commercial, they wouldn't be coming from there. I was thinking some of that to the east was residential as well, but it's
I'd have to see a better aerial, but it's at about...
It's south of the roundabout is where the residential is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it? Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Commissioner Baker, and before you give that to us, I just need to remind you that we need a separate motion and vote for each of the 2 items before us, and the use by special review needs to go first.
I'm prepared to make the motion for the use by special review. If one of my colleagues could look up the other one for the final development plan.
Thank you.
In the case of USR 23002, Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool, use by special review, I have reviewed the staff report, including all exhibits and attachments, and have listened to the applicant's presentation and hereby move to approve this application based on the findings in the staff report, subject to the following two conditions. One, the applicant will address all Public Works and Development staff comments before signing the final copy of these plans. Two, the applicant must meet all Arapahoe County Health Department requirements and receive licensing from Colorado Department of Early Childhood prior to opening for the public.
Thank you very much. It has been moved by Commissioner Baker and seconded by Commissioner Warren Gully. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. And now I would like to entertain a motion for Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool Final Development Plan.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Warren Gully.
Thank you very much. In the case of FDP 23001, Little Sunshine's Playhouse and Preschool Final Development Plan, I have reviewed the staff report, including all exhibits and attachments, and hereby move to approve this application based on the findings in the staff report, subject to the following conditions. One, before the signature of the final copy of these plans, the applicant must address Public Works and Development staff comments and concerns. Number two, the applicant must meet all Arapahoe County Health Department requirements and receive licensing from the Colorado Department of Early Childhood prior to opening for the public.
Second.
Thank you very much. It has been moved by Commissioner Warren Gully and seconded by Commissioner Campbell to approve the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And any abstentions? Thank you very, very much. Now, and thank you very, very much, Mr. Hayter. This is an opportunity for the commissioners to make remarks about work that they're doing, issues of importance, remembrances, thank yous, and we have Commissioner Baker with a finger up.
With a remembrance, if I could. Yesterday, I attended the funeral for a former county commissioner and House District 56 Representative Rod Bockenfeld. He died a few days last week. He died last week. He passed away surrounded by his family, and he had a very nice service at St. Michael Catholic Church in Aurora, and there were quite a few members of the state legislature in attendance, and they're in session. So I did just want to acknowledge that and say how proud I was to have known Rod Bockenfeld, and we're going to miss him. Thank you.
Thank you. We are so sorry for his family's loss. Anyone else? Well, be there no other business before this board, we are adjourned.